Okay, people. 3, 2, all you.
Alright, so how many of you know my locker partner, Rose Onstock? How many of you know about her panic attacks? How many of you understand what's going on about her panic attacks and why she has them? A panic disorder is different from what Rose has what's called a panic disorder. A panic disorder is different from what we consider a normal reaction to anxiety or fear. A panic disorder is a serious condition that strikes without reason or warning. A few symptoms of a panic disorder include sudden attacks of fear and nervousness, as well as physical symptoms such as sweating and a racing heart. During a panic attack, the fear response is overwhelming for the situation, which often isn't as frightening as it appears. For Rose, these attacks are something she dreads happening, which increases her anxiety, which just leads to more panic attacks, which she has no way of controlling. I am here to talk to you today about why anxiety disorders should be talked about more in schools. While anxiety is a normal human emotion, anxiety disorder is something completely different. It's normal for you to feel anxiety every now and then. It's something that happens to all of us. We stress out over exams, or you're worried about how your parents will react to a grade. It's a normal stress relief. But an anxiety disorder is when that anxiety leads to behavioral or mental changes that interfere with the way the person leads their life. OCD. OCD is when people are plagued by constant thoughts of fear that cause them to perform certain rituals or routines. And OCD means obsessive compulsive disorder. My sister has obsessive compulsive disorder. For her, it doesn't impede on her life a lot, but what it does is that she needs to be the one that sets the table, because if one placemat is set wrong, she will go ballistic. She cannot deal with it. It does not sit well with her mentally, and it causes her to go nuts on whoever has set the table wrong. A panic disorder is people with this condition have feelings of terror that strike suddenly and repeatedly with no warning. So, for Rose, she might just be sitting in math class, we might be just going through a lesson, but suddenly she'll start panicking. She cannot control it. And she has described it to me before, and she has said that it just blanks out, and she has no other thoughts other than pure panic. And it does not stop until it's over, until it's gone through what it needs to do. And PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, can develop following a traumatic event, or such as sexual or physical assault, the unexpected death of a loved one, or a natural disaster. This does not just happen to people who have divorce. This can happen to anybody who has gone through a traumatic experience. And then social anxiety is the worry or fear of being judged by others, or behaving in a way that might cause embarrassment and lead to ridicule. My sister also has social anxiety, and I have asked her before I said all this. And she cannot talk to people who work in restaurants, who work in movie theaters. She cannot talk to other people. She needs someone to go talk to that person for her, because she is so scared of them judging her that she cannot talk to them. She literally just breaks down and she can't do anything. She gets jittery, she gets nervous, she hides behind people, she gets that nervous. Then, how does this relate to school? many of your own classmates have anxiety disorders. Off the top of my head, I can think of 6 people I'm friendly with that have anxiety disorders, and I have a very small group of people that I am very friendly with, enough to where they would share this information with me. So I have maybe 15 people at most that I'm friends enough with where they would tell me they have these disorders and they trust me enough. And the fact that this affects so many of our classmates and so little of you, like none of you understood what was going on with those panic disorders and panic attacks, that this needs to be addressed in schools. Then this is one of the most anxiety disorders are some of the most common mental illnesses there are. They're also some of the most socially ignored. You almost never hear about mental illnesses in schools. You may hear about them in health class, but who honestly remembers talking about them in great detail? Quite a few students have mental health issues, yet many of us don't understand what these terms mean in relation to how this person is going to react to certain things. In the media, when you do hear about them every now and then, they are made out as a joke. A prime example of this is Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. His extreme case of OCD is made out to be a joke, when in reality, there are people with this same disorder who are as bad, if not worse, than Sheldon. When the information is freely given to us, it makes little to no sense, is made a joke out of, or is downright ignored until these mental illnesses are your problem, and you have no idea how to handle them. So how I suggest that the students are informed of this is that when it's made public knowledge a student has an anxiety disorder, I have 3 ways that they can be informed about what this all means and how this is going to relate to this person. You can have a professional come in to talk about the disorder to the entire school or just the classroom that student is in. It will probably cost money, but honestly, I think that when this is happening in real time, it's going to affect the students more and it'll get more information through to them. And the student themselves can talk about the disorder. I know that Mrs. Prout has Natalie Noble come in and talk about her Tourette syndrome in her freshman health class. That really made an impact in me for me to remember that class at all when I barely remember anything in freshman year. But I remember that talk. And the school can have brochures made for the students to be passed out on multiple disorders. Then they can be passed around the school for students to take or not, so they do have the information in their hands and they can be informed about these illnesses. And these are my sources, and I hope I've given you some food for thought on anxiety disorders, and I hope you've been convinced that schools should talk more and inform their students about anxiety disorders.
Well done.